Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're evaluating the McFarlane DC Multiverse, the Joker and Punchline 2-pack. Now, having another Joker figure, no big deal in the McFarlane DC Multiverse line, as we've had so many before. But getting our very first ever Punchline figure in the 6 or 7 inch scale is a big deal. That's what I like, brand new Batman Rogues they haven't made before. And McFarlane delivered. Only annoying part is, you had to buy a 2-pack with yet another Joker figure to get her. But it looks to be well worth it. I ordered this set from the McFarlane toy store, so let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see, DC Multiverse, the Joker, and Punchline. Here they are in the package. We have 2 knives, 2 collector's cards, 2 display stands. The Joker and Punchline. One side of the package, the Joker and Punchline. Other side, same thing. At the bottom, there is the barcode, in case that helps anybody. And on the back side, Joker and Punchline post up from the comics. So with no further ado, let's open them up. Alright, now that we got these figures out of the package, here they are with all their accessories laid out. They both come with a display stand, a collector's card, and they both have a knife. Before we take a look at all that, let's talk about and check out the figures. So this is the Joker and Punchline 2-pack. We all know who the Joker is, but the Punchline is more or less the newer Harley Quinn. She's Joker's sidekick. After Joker had abused and mistreated Harley Quinn for so many years, she finally left him once and for all. Punchline was a college student that was impressed by Joker, made her own Joker toxin, killed her roommate or somebody, and impressed the Joker. He took her under his wing, and I believe she is more brutal or savage than Harley Quinn ever was. In this video, we're going to take a look at each of the figures individually. We'll check out their accessories, height, and articulation, and we'll compare them with a bunch of other relevant action figures. So let's start with the one that I'm most excited for, Punchline. Before we take a look at Punchline, let's check out the non-character specific accessories. They both come with a display stand. It's a typical McFarlane display stand we've seen a million times before. It's a black circle, very thin, very basic. Here's a look at their collector's cards. Here's the front of them, Punchline on the left, Joker on the right. And then here's the back side. I'm not sure if you can read that or not, but if you can, pause now. So here's Punchline. Her real name is Alexis K. She wanted to prove herself to her hero Joker, so she created her own version of the Joker toxin and killed her college dean. The Joker was impressed enough to take her under her wing and have him help her stop Batman, and she has become his sidekick since then. So let's take a look. Starting with her face here, it looks good. She's got the long bangs, big ponytail, a little scrunchy with balls on her head, a little bit of blue dye in the bangs, rosy cheeks, a little bit on the nose. Now she has typical flesh-colored skin. She hasn't been dropped with vat of chemicals like Joker or Harley. A little bit of rips on her outfit, but it's not sculpted, simply painted on. Now I do see hints of the Nightfall Catwoman body, but looks like they made a lot of alterations. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees, more rips, simply painted, not sculpted. She's got the XO all over her, on her gloves, on her boots. Now, one of the most annoying things about this figure is she has this ball of yarn permanently attached to her left hand. And I wouldn't even mind if they gave her another left hand, but they didn't. So that sucks something fierce. Maybe you could rip it out, but I imagine the hand would look pretty messed up if you did that. She's got boots, and they don't appear exactly the same as the Nightfall Catwoman boots, and they have the pointed top that they could have used for Supergirl. Looks like she has sculpted stitching or laces on her tall boots. Overall looks good. I know she has a little slit in her skirt to allow the articulation going all the way out. Very happy to add Punchline to the collection, but damn, this thing pisses me off. And a closer look at her face and head sculpt, it definitely screams Punchline with the bangs, the blue hair, the rosy cheeks, and the red nose. It all looks pretty damn good. Now let's check out her accessories. She simply comes with this knife. It's a regular looking knife. It's got a silver blade, a little bit of sculpted detail on the handle. I do wish she came with an alternate pair of hands to replace that ball of yarn, but it is what it is. Here's a look at Punchline, holding that knife. Now let's talk about that ball of yarn for a second. I don't know the significance of Punchline using a ball of yarn, but it's permanently attached to her hand, and frankly, that sucks. Wouldn't be a big deal if she had some alternate hands, but she doesn't have them. I thought maybe I could heat it up, rip it out of her hand, and you know what? I probably could, but her hand would look really messed up underneath there, and it's probably better to just leave it alone. Like I said, if she had an alternate hand, I wouldn't mind, but she doesn't, so I do. This one has the O on the glove, and this one has the X on the glove. Her hands do pop out with complete ease, which makes me think maybe at one point they were planning to include alternate hands. Who knows? I do believe she has a lot of shared parts from the Nightfall and Dark Knight Rises Catwoman, and those hands pop off pretty easily, so maybe it's just the same mold. So I have my extra McFarlane hands in a giant baggie, and I took these two black-fisted hands. These are from a female, I'm pretty sure from the Dark Knight Rises Catwoman, and they fit on her wrists just fine. Now the only drawback is, on the outside of her hands, they're totally black. They don't have the X and the O, but that ball of yarn displeases me so much that I'm definitely willing to sacrifice that to give her at least a left-fisted hand. And so this is how I'm going to display my Punchline. She's going to have the gripping hand on her right hand for the knife, and it has the X on it, and then the fully black-fisted hand on the left. Much better than that ball of yarn. When looking at the description for the figure, it's actually, I guess, not a ball of yarn, even though that's what I first thought, but it's a quote-unquote Joker ball. I'm not sure what a Joker ball is. I imagine it's a ball containing Joker toxin or something like that, but some sort of Joker-themed weapon. That will not be displayed on my figure, as I'm going to use the other hand. So I couldn't help myself. I went and heated up her hand and ripped out the Joker ball. So, it came out about how I expected. The hand is pretty messed up on the inside. A lot of paint issues, has some extra plastic that goes into the ball. And then we have the separate Joker ball, which looks pretty good till you get to the other side. There's a hole in it, a bunch of black plastic and residue from her hands. Still, worth a shot, and I still have that black-fisted hand that I'm going to use with her. Now I wanted to check out the reuse and differences between Punchline and the Nightfall Catwoman. And there is barely any reuse, so let's take a look. Obviously, heads are completely different. The chest, totally different. The stomach, now this is where I have a little issue telling. I think the stomach piece might be the same. It has that line going down it. At the top, the line has like a piece of a zipper at the top, and that's definitely different from her. So I think the stomach's the same. The top of the arms looks to be the same. It has the same sort of cut where the glove is. But the bottom part is definitely different, the forearms. You can see it has a sculpted sleeve here. The legs look like maybe they're based off each other. The boot cut is obviously completely different. This one has the pointed boot. This one has the thigh-high boot. Looks like the kneecaps are the same. I would say this next part is, if it's reused, heavily modified with these sculpted laces on top. The ankles look to be the same. And I'd say the feet are different, even though they look very similar. So as far as I can tell, it looks like the bicep area is the same, the stomach area, ankles, and knees, and that's really about it. Which leads me to point out they reused the majority of the Nightfall Catwoman parts on this Supergirl figure. And they have those inaccurate boots that go way too high. And then here we have the pointed boots on Punchline, which they could have easily done something like that for Supergirl. Now they've taken a pretty good look at the figure and her accessories, let's check out her height. From bottom to the top of her head, standing around 6.9 inches tall, which can translate to about 17.5 centimeters. And for articulation, starting with her head, of course, she can rotate from side to side. She can look up, not much, down about that far. Can tilt her head, at least a little bit, from side to side. Now the ponytail has no articulation, and I'd say just be careful. I can see that breaking over time if you're not careful with it. It's got a little white spot in her hair here and doesn't seem to come off. A little paint defect right there that's quite noticeable. Shoulders, a ball joint, goes up about 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. She's got the butterfly ring between her shoulder and chest area, increasing the range of motion and covering the large gap that would be there. Bicep cut, hidden very nicely on the glove that is not appropriate for her. Double jointed elbows, and like a lot of the McFarlane figures, that little piece between the forearm and the bicep does not match very well color-wise at all. They go all the way in. Her wrist can rotate, and it's going to be hinged. In her torso, she's got a ball joint, rotate around, forward and back. Another one in her waist, rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, pretty nice range of motion. Legs complete as splits. Nice job with little slits on her skirt to allow the articulation. McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation is minimal, but there. Legs go forward about that far. Back not much. She has double jointed knees. And then her ankle. Forward and back. Rotate. Tilt and rock. And she does not have toe articulation, which most McFarlane figures have. Here's a look at this McFarlane DC Multiverse 7-inch scale punchline, next to a custom 6-inch scale Marvel Legends style punchline. It's a fantastic custom, but I prefer the real deal and the 7-inch scale. Here's a look at punchline next to all the McFarlane Harley Quinn figures. One day McFarlane's going to give us a comic version of Harley Quinn, hopefully in her classic outfit, maybe one in the New 52, maybe one of the Rebirth, maybe an animated Harley Quinn. There are so many different options they could choose from. I always thought that a Punchline versus Harley Quinn 2-pack would be really cool, but we all know McFarlane is scared of female figures. Frankly, we're lucky to have gotten Punchline at all. Here's this Punchline next to a custom Joker daughter that I have. I hope McFarlane eventually makes a Joker's daughter figure. I believe she's still running around the DC universe somewhere. The Joker and Punchline here kind of remind me of Mime and Marionette. These are DC Direct figures from Watchmen, Doomsday Clock storyline. They came from the Watchmen universe, but at least temporarily became Joker henchmen in that storyline. Punchline here is a brand new Bat-Rogue, never been made before by any of the companies in 6 or 7-inch scale. McFarlane has been releasing some pretty cool Batman characters lately. Here she is next to Mr. Zsasz. Although some other companies have done a Mr. Zsasz figure, McFarlane hasn't done one before, so 2 brand new Bat villains to add to the McFarlane DC Multiverse collection, and I love it. Here are some really nice additions to the Batman Rogues Gallery that McFarlane recently released. And while they've done a Penguin figure before, this is their first comic Penguin. And they've done a Mr. Freeze figure before, but this is probably my favorite one of them. So, 4 great additions to the Batman Rogues Gallery. And we have the upcoming Target exclusive Mr. Bloom, another brand new Bat-Rogue. And rumor is there's a bunch of new ones coming along. The next collector's edition wave after the next one is supposed to have Ragman and Clock King. So, just a ton of new DC and Batman characters, and I can't wait. Now let's take a look at the Joker. This is the Joker from the Rebirth comics, as Punchline is a rather new character. He simply comes with a knife. This is based off the Infinite Frontier Joker body, so let's take a look. Start with his face. Now it looks good, but it's kind of weird. He has very white skin in the middle of his face, and then sort of gray around the top. Kind of interesting, as I figured he would be permanently bleached evenly across his whole body. Hair is wild, sculpt is good, paint job's pretty nice too. It's not just pure one color green, a little bit of wash and some different shading going on. Orange shirt underneath, collar sort of popped out, that's new. Green vest, his shirt's not tucked in. Purple jacket, purple pants, flower on his shirt. White gloves, or are those just his skin? Double jointed knees, double jointed elbows. Overall, pretty cool, sort of traditional and sort of modern looking Joker. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. The head sculpt's pretty good, but there are some issues with the paint job. His eyes are very uneven. His right eye is looking straight at you, front center. His left eye is totally to the side. You can't imagine it's supposed to be this way. And then the face paint, he's got the bright white in the middle, which looks like I imagined it to look, and then gray around the top and edges. It just looks kind of weird, kind of off. The sculpt is fantastic. Definitely screams a modern looking Joker. And for his lone accessory, which is a knife. And it is a different knife than Punchline came with. The knife looks familiar. I think it's the same one for the Infinite Frontier Joker, and it might be a great knife to give to someone like Mr. Zsasz. The blade is fairly unique. The handle has nice detail. And then here's Joker holding that knife. Now to check out the differences in reuse between this Joker and Punchline 2-pack Joker and the Infinite Frontier Joker. And it shares a lot of the same pieces. The heads are definitely different. Beyond that, I think everything else is the same except for the paint job. And I guess I was wrong on him. The collar is popped off on the original version as well. Even the flower is the same. Every bit of sculpting detail is exactly the same on these two figures, except a significantly different paint job and different head. And this is now the third figure to use this exact same body. Two different variations of the Infinite Frontier Joker and this Joker and Punchline 2-pack version. Now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing at about 7.2 inches tall, which can translate to just over 18 centimeters. And for his articulation, starting with his head, of course you can rotate side to side. He can look up and down about that far. Can tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders, a ball joint goes out more than 90 degrees, up, down, around. He doesn't have that typical butterfly ring because he has the jacket, which covers a large gap. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows. His wrists can rotate, and it's going to be hinged. Torso is one solid piece with a soft goods overlay. It does have some articulation inside of there, but it's pretty much all useless. Ball joint the waist, rotate around, forward and back. Legs, do the splits. McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation's non-existent. Legs go forward about that far, a little bit more to the side. Back not at all. Double jointed knees. Then his ankle. Forward and back. Rotate. Tilt and rock. And of course, toe articulation. Now let's check him out next to some other McFarlane Joker figures. Here he is, next to the original Rebirth Joker. And here he is, next to the Arkham Asylum Joker. Then, next to the three Jokers, Comedian Joker. And now, with the Batman The Dark Knight Returns Joker. And finally, with the Heath Ledger Dark Knight Movie Joker. Here's a look at every single McFarlane DC Multiverse Joker figure. At least before this Punchline and Joker 2-pack version. Looks like I have one more to add to the mix. Here's a look at Joker and Punchline walking through the streets of Gotham City. Can only imagine the chaos they're going to cause that night. Now let's check them out next to some other action figures. Starting off with some of their recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here they are, next to the recent Nightfall Batman vs. Bane 2-pack. And here they are, next to the Morgan Freeman Lucius Fox from the Dark Knight trilogy. Then, next to the Amazon exclusive glow-in-the-dark Batman Beyond Future's End Joker Batman Robot. And here they are, next to the Frostbite version of the Comedian Joker. Then, next to a most recent McFarlane wave. This wave consists of Booster Gold, Mr. Freeze, and Ambush Bug. And now, with some recent McFarlane Toy Store exclusive figures, we have Mr. Zsasz, Kingdom Come Batman Patina version, and the Infected Batman Nightmare version. Here they are, next to the Kryptonite Doomsday glow-in-the-dark Mega figure. And finally, next to the fourth wave of McFarlane Collector's Edition figures, both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of Penguin, Starfire, and Captain Boomerang. Now let's check them out next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how they fit in both scale and style-wise, in case you don't know which lines you can mix them with. Since they're McFarlane toys, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the large action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check them out with some of the McFarlane Toys brothers and sisters. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures and some DST or Diamond Select toys. Here they are, next to a deck of Uno playing cards. And here they are, next to some DC Direct and NECA figures. Then, with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. And now, with some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. Next, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, with some SH Figure Arts action figures and some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, it's a really cool Punchline and Joker 2-pack. I much would have preferred to have had a Punchline single release, so I didn't have to buy my 30th or whatever McFarlane Joker figure. It is a nice Joker, but it's reusing the same body that we've seen numerous times before. Now, Punchline is a brand new Batman Rogue, and I love it. That's the kind of figures I want McFarlane to make. Really, the only major complaint I would have about her is that stupid Joker ball stuck in her hand. And I found a solution for it, but I would have much preferred to have just had an alternate pair of hands so I didn't have to, number one, rip the Joker ball out and make the hand and the ball look horrible, or use an alternate hand that doesn't have our signature X and O on it. Sculpt and paint job are excellent on these figures. Articulation is everything you expect from a modern McFarlane DC Multiverse figure. Accessories are quite on the low side. If I were to rate these figures, probably give Punchline a 7, and Joker like a 6.5 type area. I'm very pleased with the Punchline figure, and really happy to add this Batman villain to the roster. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.